in Chet from the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. We've already gotten to almost to the halfway point. Almost to the halfway.
You want to share the text with us, please?
Yes, I do. I do. You're right. I do. But first of all, I want to find the text. 1 second. Thank you for asking so nicely. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Share screen. There it is. Okay, here's the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. If you have one in your house, you can look at it. And you can look at this. Here it is. Siman Shin Chet, 308. Okay, we learned about broken vessels on Shabbat. We learned the 4 categories in Muktzeh, things which are totally permissible to carry, even for no reason at all. Things which you can never carry for any reason at all with your hands. We learned Muktzeh is only moving it. If you move something and you move it with your hands, that's the prohibition of Muktzeh. If you're going to touch something with your hands and not move it, then you can do it. Anything. You can touch anything if you're not going to move it. Or you can move anything, if you're not going to touch it, move with your feet or something like that. And we learned things that you can move for no reason at all. That's only books and food. We learned things that you can never move. And there were several of those things. Like, for instance, things that aren't a vessel, rocks, splinters, or things that are very, very valuable, precious things. And then there's 2 other categories of muktzeh, things which you can move even to save the vessel itself, like it's in the sun. That's a vessel whose purpose is permissible on Shabbat, like a dish or a plate or a fork or a knife or something, your clothes. And then there are things, that's the 4th category of muktzeh, are things that are vessels, but their purpose is forbidden on Shabbos, like a hammer or a saw, something like that. Those things, a pencil, those things you can move. You can move because they're vessels, but only if for some sort of a permissible purpose. You want to use the pencil to hold a door open. You want to use the hammer to crack open nuts. Those are the 4 categories. Then we learn about what's the law of broken vessels. And we just finished learning the law about pieces of cloth, rags that fall off. Good. You can go over those laws if you want to. And if you want to, I can give you a test on this stuff. We'll see. Menal, a shoe. Can you touch a shoe on Shabbos? Of course you can. What's the question? A shoe is a klisha melechta leheter. A shoe is the example of a vessel which is designated for a permissible use on Shabbat. Things like that you can touch and move even to save the vessel. Let's say your shoes, your whole wardrobe is out in the front yard. Right, your whole entire front. One of your children took the whole thing out in the front yard, and it's blazing hot over there. And also, all the people are walking by. They think that maybe it's there for free, so you're allowed to save them and move them all into your house. You're allowed to. It would not be that same case if one of the children in your house took out your bandsaw or your automatic drill or your guitar, right? Your guitar. And you were worried it would be in the sun, it would get wrecked. Too bad. You want to move it, you have to move it with your teeth or because it's a vessel that is for a forbidden purpose. Unless you can find a use for it. The guitar or something, use it as a doorstop. Okay, here we go. Menal. A shoe. A shoe. Like a shoe, we say a shoe. No problem. You can move. You can't move it for no reason at all. There's only 2 things that you can touch and move on Shabbos with your hands for no reason at all, and that's food and books. Jewish books. Food and books. permissible books. There's books that are not. Well, that's in another chapter. Okay, but a shoe, you can move it just to save the shoe if you want to. You can, of course you can move it. A shoe, whether it's a new shoe that's never been used before, whether it's an old shoe that's been used. Now here's the problem. Hudak ala dafus. Did you put it in what's called, what do they call it? A shoe tree? A shoe. You ever see these things before? I remember when I was in high school, there used to be these kids that had a big thing about, shoes, their clothes. They used to be very spiffy, they had to have their clothes and they had these shoes, be polished up, expensive shoes. I never got into it, but I wanted to be like everybody else. So I also bought, there was this shoe thing that you put, it's sort of like shaped like, it's a piece of wood. It's shaped like a foot a little bit in the front. And it even had this sort of screw that you could make the back part of it come out. So like fit the size of the shoe. And on the back of it, there was also this piece of wood, so it fit in. Okay, now this shoe tree that you have, this is muktzeh. This is, there's no, what can you do with it? It's stuck inside of the dafus. You put it in there in order that it should keep its shape really nicely. Well, it's permissible to remove the shoe from this shoe tree or mold or whatever you call it. Bain lishmot at the dafus, whether to take out the shoe tree from inside of the shoe, whether to take out the shoe from on the shoe tree. So there's nothing wrong. First of all, the shoe tree is not 100% muktzeh. It's a vessel. It's a dafus yeshaleh shem kli. It's a vessel. Ela shemalech leser. It's a vessel that you use for a forbidden purpose. It's to stretch the leather of the shoe. You can't do that on Shabbos. But nevertheless, it is a vessel. Therefore, you can move it for its place. What do you mean its place? The inside of the shoe, you want to put your foot in there. You can't put your foot in there if the shoe tree is in there. So therefore, you can move it out in order to free the place where it is. Hainu chalala shalamanal. Namely the hollow place of the shoe, which the shoe tree is inside of it. Gets a little more complicated. Sandalim. What about sandal? Oh, no, sandal is a little bit different thing over here. How did the sandal used to be in their days? Oh, no, I didn't know that. This one. How did the sandals used to be? He explains. It was like a piece of leather that was the sole of it, like the bottom of it. Then there were two straps. Oh, kavuot b'shtei the dam that were set on either side of the sandal. Achat b'tzad penimi, one is on the inside, lebein shnei raglav, on the inside of the, va'achat l'tzad chutz, and one on the outside. Okay, you get it? There's two straps. One strap is on the inside, one strap is on the outside. And then, korchem shnei ratzuos, and then you tie these two things together on your foot above. Lachzik shtei tzidei, a sandal, to hold on to these two sides on your foot. Mipnei shelo haya or b'sandalim, there was no leather on these sandals except for these two sides of the sandal alone. The top was completely open, not like our shoe. A regular shoe on the top is closed, right? So how did this look? Let's say the sandal was on the bottom, and let's say that maybe it even had two sides to it. Two sides to it, a little bit that covered your feet. And then there was a strap on the inside. It was the side that was between your two legs. And then there was one on the outside. And when you wanted to walk, so you would tie these two things together, and it would push the two pieces of leather on the sides of your foot together, and that would be your shoe. Okay, especially in Israel and places like that, it gets hot in the summer, and people would wear sandals. And they would wear sandals on Shabbos. Therefore, you had to have the both two straps. One was on the right side of the shoe and the other one's on the left side of the shoe. Or in here, he doesn't make that distinction, right and left. The inside of the shoe, in other words, the side that's between the legs, and the outside, which is the on the outside. Lachzik states to their sandal, to hold on these two parts of the sandal on your feet. What happens when one of them breaks? That's it. You can't walk until you fix it. You can't use the sandal until you fix it. Okay, now you're walking in the street, or let's say you're walking in a place where you can carry. You can carry. It's permissible to carry. You're walking in a Reshus Rabbi, Reshus Yachid, in your house. You're walking in your house in the shul, and it breaks. One of these straps breaks. Now, what strap breaks, it means that the shoe is not usable anymore until you retie it. Nevertheless, you can. The shoe does not become muktzeh because of that. Even if it gets pulled out with that piece of leather that's on the side that it pushes toward your foot. Because it still is a vessel. You can't use it for anything. You can't use it for anything now, but you can fix it easily. It's very common. People would go to a shoemaker and they would fix the strap. That's all, not so difficult. They would fix the strap broke off, there's nothing there to tie it onto. He'll fix it for you. But what are we talking about? If the inside strap gets broken, shall bein raglayim. The inside strap between your feet, she'im yitaknu ein tikuna nira. Because now people are apt to fix the inside part of their shoes because it's not so visible to the public. That's on the inside. But if the outside strap gets broken, people do not fix sandals unless you're like really poor or something. They don't fix the sandal if it has from the outside. Why? Because this correction, the repair, is easily visible to everyone. And it is embarrassing. Sort of like a patch on your pants. Let's take that example, a patch on your pants, right? A person has a little patch on the inside of his pants. It's not so bad as a patch on the outside of your pants, right? If it's on the inside, between the legs, right, somewhere there, you put a patch, not so noticeable. Not so noticeable. On the outside, you can't cover it over with anything. It's not. But here we'll talk about pants later. Now we're talking about shoes. The fichach batal a sandal, mitoras kli, if the inside strap breaks, in other words, it's not, then it's okay. But if the outside strap breaks, then it is, no one fixes sandals like this. If you're a normal person, you don't fix up sandals like that. You throw them away. Therefore, it is forbidden to carry it even in your house. It's muktzeh. The Eino Doma L'Shivrei Kalka is not similar to other vessels that they break, that we said you can carry them because they are fit to cover a vessel. Right? What do we say? If you have a big serving tray and it breaks on Shabbat, if the pieces are usable for something, let's say to cover over a small vessel or something, then you can use it. It's not muktzeh. So why not here also? You have a big shoe. A sandal, you're not going to use this to cover anything. In darko lechasot bo kelin, you don't cover over in some sort of a vessel, a pot or something with a shoe. A shoe is disgusting. One more. What happens if now the shoe does not break in your house? The shoe breaks when you're in a karmelis. Now, what's a karmelis? A karmelis is, let's say for our purpose, it's a public domain from the rabbis. Rabbinical public domain. A karmelis, that's not exactly a good, but for our purposes, that's what it means. Hitiru lo litol, then you're allowed to take a piece of rope or something like that, that's fresh, Shumaichel behema, that an animal could eat a fresh piece of straw or something like that. Umuter letaltal, you can carry it because it's animal food, and you can tie it around your sandal, and even to wrap it around your sandal and tie it. We'll learn the laws about tying, what type of knots you can make. That's in, what is Shin Yud Tes? Is it? Yeah. No, it's not. That's not wrong. Shin Tet Zayin, I think. You can read it. Anyway, I'll look it up. Let me see. 1 second. I don't want to forget this. Excuse me 1 minute. Excuse me, please. Excuse me. Shin Yud Zayin. Sorry. Shin Yud Zayin. Laws of tying knots. In any case, you'll figure somewhere to wrap this hemp or whatever it is. If it's edible by an animal, you can wrap it around your feet, wrap it around the shoe. Shalo yipol miragla, so it won't fall from your hand. What happens? The inner strap breaks. The inner strap breaks. So it's not a type of thing you're going to throw away. And even, let's say, okay, therefore, you're not a thing you could, and it could be even if the outer strap breaks, because you can't walk on the street without a shoe. So what do? You find some sort of thing that could be eaten by an animal, right? A piece of hemp or something. I don't know if you can find anything in the city. There's no such thing. But if you do find something, and you'd wrap it around your sandal, and it'll last until you get home or to somewhere. But it's forbidden to tie on it an actual rope or mashicha or a belt, because maybe you'll leave it there. Liot kavuim sham la'olam. And it ended up that you made a permanent knot on Shabbat. And even if you take this like damp piece of hemp or whatever, lo itiru, they only permit it in a carmelis. Because if you don't, a carmelis is like a public domain from the rabbis. If you don't allow a person to do this, then you're going to leave the shoe there and it'll get stolen. And therefore you might get so worried about it getting stolen, you might carry it. But if it's in your backyard, that there it is protected and no one's going to steal your shoe, so you won't get all excited and move it. It's forbidden to tie this wet hemp, because maybe you'll change your mind and you'll leave it there. Whether the inside strap is broken, in which case it's not muktzeh, or whether the outside is broken. Ella, if the in one is broken, then you can carry it around. If it's in your front yard, you can carry it around and you can hide it somewhere in your chatzir. If the outside one is broken, then you cannot touch it, you cannot carry it around, then it is totally muktzeh, like we learned before. All right, now in our days, we'll have to figure out how this is relevant, because not too many people have sandals that are shaped like that. But we can use the principle here and apply it to other cases, and we'll decide what those cases are, God willing, tomorrow. 8:15, please join us. Same address. See you, everyone. God bless you all.
Bolton, are we going to learn today?
Today, I'll tell you what.